Welcome to the Expositor Podcast with Dr. Steven J. Lawson. Dr. Lawson is the founder and president of One Passion Ministries. The Expositor Podcast is focused on taking your preaching to the next level. Now, here's Dr. Lawson.
In this session, I want to address a question that I'm often asked. Why do I always wear a coat and tie when I preach? And as I travel around, I always wear a coat and tie. And I'll give you some of the thoughts that are going on in my mind. I want to stress, I do not have a chapter and verse for this. I also want to stress, you do not have a chapter and verse for the way that you dress. So this is preference. These are just my thoughts, but there is a rhyme and a reason as to why I do. It really begins, number one, with as I preach the Word of God, especially on a Sunday morning or a Sunday night worship service, I see myself as the worship leader. Whoever has the Bible, whoever has the Word of God, is in the position of leading the people of God to the very throne of grace, into the very palace of heaven. And as I am leading people in worship, I want to look as though I am going into the presence of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I don't want to present myself as one who looks like I just got back from a pajama party, or as someone who just fell out of bed, as if this really is not important here in worship. I want to convey that this is the most important hour of the week. Nothing else takes precedence over the worship of God. In fact, the church began to worship on the first day of the week, as opposed to the Sabbath in the Old Testament, to prioritize worship, corporate worship, and coming into the presence of God. To me, just the way my mind works is that as I would lead the people of God, it would be incongruent for me to present myself as though I'm cleaning out my garage, but to come into the presence of God. It's just a disconnect for me. Now, I don't have a chapter and verse for this. It's more of a worldview answer to this, but I want to give the appearance that what I am doing with the Bible is very, very important. So if anything, I will overdress, not underdress, to reflect that. Of course, this goes back to my childhood, and I think I've spoken on a previous podcast about this, that every Saturday night, my father would come into my bedroom and we would lay out my clothes for the next day on Sunday. We would get my shoes, go down to the kitchen, we would shine my shoes, we would lay out my shirt, it would be ironed, we would iron my pants. Everything was ready for the next day on Sunday. Nothing was an afterthought. Nothing was incidental for Sunday morning. And as a young boy, it just underscored in my mind, this is important. This is important to my father. And whatever is important to my father became important to me. Now, I realize it's just the outward appearance. Man looks on the outward appearance, 1 Samuel 16:7. But God looks upon the heart, and someone may say, well, see, it doesn't matter the external. No, you missed the point of the verse. Man does look on the outward appearance. God looks upon the heart. The outward appearance is important. In 1 Timothy 2, Paul tells women how not to dress when they come to church in such a way as to draw attention to themselves and with flashy jewelry. So the Bible does have something to say about this. But in my mind, I am the worship leader, and I am wanting to lead the people of God into the very presence of God, into the throne room above. So that's the main idea that's going on in my mind. Also, I see myself as an ambassador of the King. 2 Corinthians 5 says that I'm an ambassador of God, representing Him before men. And so I see myself really as an extension of the throne of God, like a herald in the Roman Empire would come into the palace and receive the message from Caesar and then be dispatched to the perimeter of the Roman Empire. I see myself as an ambassador representing Jesus Christ wherever I go. And though it is only the outward appearance, I just don't want to look like an unmade bed when I show up and downgrade or de-emphasize the importance of what I'm doing with a sloppy appearance. In addition, my style of preaching is not chit-chatty, it's not informal, it's not casual, it's not cool, it's not kickback. I'm really a herald. I'm a proclaimer of the Word of God. I'm wanting to take people down deep into the text that they would rise up high to the very presence of God. And for me, it would be inconsistent to just appear with my presence to be chit-chatty, but then try to preach in a strong, straightforward manner. Does it have to be a coat and tie? Of course not. There are different cultures around the world. I would just say, for me, that I want to give the appearance that this is very important, what I'm doing. It's not unimportant, it is important. And with various cultures around the world, that can vary, and obviously different economic levels. For me, and I've been without most of my life as a preacher, it's just whatever's the best I have to put on. That's what I want to put on. And wealth is a relative thing. And for many people, my best is their worst. I understand that. But whatever is the best for me, that's what I want to put on as I go to church on the Lord's Day, and especially as I stand before the people of God. Please hear me say, I'm not imposing this on anyone. These are just my thoughts and my ideas. Plus, as I wear a coat and tie, I do get upgrades on airplanes, all right? And I get discounts at airports because people think I work for American Airlines. So there are some advantages. Of course, I'm being tongue-in-cheek as I say that. Just think about how you present yourself as you stand before the people of God to expound the Word of God. Thank you.